everyone, it's Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing, bringing you back for another slice of social media pie. And I am always so excited when I bring on a fellow LinkedIn rock star. Richard Blom is joining me here today. Hey, Richard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Brenda. Thank you for having me. Really looking forward to it.
Great, likewise. And this has been a discussion I've been looking forward to having for so long. And Richard, you're one of those people out on LinkedIn who I've heard your name like forever, and in a lot of circles, you're kind of known as a social selling expert and the go-to person when it comes to Sales Navigator. And I'm just really delighted to have you on the show today. Now, I'm in Metro Detroit. It's about 10 a.m. my time. Where are you at, and what time of day is it there?
I'm in Valencia, east coast of Spain. It's 4 in the afternoon, lovely sunny, 20 degrees. So I'm really enjoying myself.
Good. So you're at the end of your day. I'm kind of in mid-morning over here, but it's a delight to have you on today.
Yeah, thank you. I notice about the time differences when I start working for like international clients, and then I would have like early morning sessions for like Asian countries, and then I would have afternoon sessions for my like European clients, and then in the evening I would still have some sessions for United States companies. So this is like really cool working globally.
It is, isn't it? It's kind of the power of social media and the internet. So I want to, first of all, welcome everyone who's watching. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. And guys, look below. I've got a little comment, and I'm putting a tip on this for you. I know sometimes when you're watching a live video, you may not want to add a comment because I don't know if you've noticed it kind of hiccups, and it pauses and freezes the video, and then you got to recycle it. Here's my little hack, my workaround, if you will. If you're watching this on your laptop, go onto my LinkedIn profile for Brenda Meller, find the live stream from there, and leave the comments from your phone. That way you can continue to watch it on your laptop. And then once I start to see comments popping in this morning, Richard, I'm going to start pulling them up on screen here. So for example, we see Marina, who's watching us here. Jack Jempel is watching us here. So I'm going to start to pull their comments up on screen. While I'm doing that, what I'd like to do, Richard, is so for those who don't know who Richard is, I don't know why you don't, but you should know who this guy is. You should be following him immediately on LinkedIn. He is one of my LinkedIn, I like to call these Meller Marketing LinkedIn rock stars. And a few years back, I started tracking people who were specializing in LinkedIn strategy services from around the world. I don't remember where I first heard your name, Richard, but I was like, as soon as I saw your profile and your activity, I'm like, this is definitely someone I want to watch. So why don't you, if you could, take a few minutes, tell people a little bit about who you are and what your business is all about.
Thank you, Brenda. First of all, let me thank you for all the effort you put in creating this wonderful list with the LinkedIn marketing list. It's awesome work. And I would suggest all the people to just start following or connecting with all those people there, because there is tons of pure gold on their profiles and their updates. So basically, I gave my first LinkedIn training back in 2009, so 12 years ago. At that time, I aimed more at interim management, solo entrepreneurs. Our company grew. We started to do in-company trainings as from 2011. But at that time, we did all social media platforms. So we did LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, email, blog, mail automation. So actually the digital sales marketing concept. In 2015, I decided to aim purely 100% for LinkedIn. So I continued the company with some other people. And from that moment on, I have been providing LinkedIn trainings, both strategic and operational advice, to companies in Western Europe, mainly Benelux, because I'm originally from the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. And it was in the middle of, I think, 2017, about 4 or 5 years ago, that I got my first client from the United States. I got a client in Asia. And then I switched my communication to English. Before that, it was mainly Dutch, or partly Dutch, partly English. I started to produce more content. Obviously, I did algorithm research 2 years ago now, and that's all accelerated the business globally. And especially with the situation in the current world with COVID, it's more easy to provide online training. So now the sky is the limit.
Right. That's awesome. And I just referred you out to one of my US-based clients. I don't know if he's reached back out to you yet. I gave him the name of a few people. But I kind of said, he's the guy that you should work with. He's the guy that when I said, hey, I'm looking for somebody who can help to train people on Sales Navigator, I'm like, I dabble. Like I can probably figure things out, but I'm not an experienced trainer, and I don't feel comfortable, delivering that. And I said that your name kept coming up in circles wherever I was talking about that. So so we're here today, Richard, talking about leveraging the power of LinkedIn to grow your business. So let's get this conversation started here today. And what advice do you have for people? I mean, I'm sure people are turning in. They're like, oh, Richard's going to be talking about this today. So what advice do you have for people on using LinkedIn to grow their business?
On a personal level, I call it like triple A. So be authentic, be active, and be approachable. I think authentic, especially if you're on sales, marketing, if you have your own business, I think being authentic on LinkedIn is key to have any success on LinkedIn, because I can see a lot of people like just copying other people's content or copying the way how other people respond or react or post on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I think even like in this time where there is a massive amount of content on LinkedIn, if you dare to be authentic, if you dare to tell your own story, to produce your own content, don't worry about the quality. As long as it's authentic, you will draw the attention of the right people, and you will get like engagement. Active, obviously. I still meet some clients. They post me questions like, "Can you help us setting up Sales Navigator, because we want to grow our business, to increase our lead generation." But if I look at what they are actually doing besides building their profile on LinkedIn, it's like almost nothing. Yeah. And in my opinion, and I'm sure you agree with that, if you don't produce content, if you don't engage, if you don't become active in your feed, respond, nothing is going to happen. So it's about consistency, but mainly about dare to be active. Mm-hmm. And then the third A, it's approachable. I have promised myself that whenever somebody reaches out to me, even if the question is maybe less relevant, even if the potential of the person that reached out to me in terms of like revenue is very low, I always respond. So if people post me a question, it might take me like 1, 2, maybe 3 days, but I always come back to people, because I think when you start being approachable, when you start helping people and guiding people on their way in LinkedIn and in their business, that's when you create ambassadorship. That's the 4A I just came up with, ambassadorship.
Oh, look at that. We're gonna go quadruple A instead.
yeah, quadruple A, ambassadorship. No, ambassadorship is actually like a result of being authentic, being approachable, be active. But yeah, it's a good one.
I'm adding it in. I'm typing these words up on screen right now to put it on for people who are kind of watching this. I'm like, what'd she say? And when you first said it, I have like a short-term memory thing. I'm like, I heard you say the 3 words, and the only one I remembered was authentic. So I do this a little bit as a hack for me, you guys. Cool. I'm like, I want to remember when I'm watching the playback what those words were, but authentic, active, approachable, and ambassador. So I'm calling it a quad A on there. Yeah, so I want to go back to one of your earlier points of being authentic. And I've heard this happening. I've not had to experience it myself, but have you ever seen someone, Richard, rip off your content and repost it as their own without giving you any credit? Have you ever seen that happening?
Of course. I think the majority of people that create a massive amount of content out there have experienced this, In my latest algorithm research we published in October, I just had like one sentence, if you would like to share it, right, be my guest, but just, let me know that you're sharing it or tag my name. Because, I put it out there for free so people can do whatever they want. Still, I saw like 3 or 4 times that like, it was like transferred in another layout. It was with another logo, but the words were almost like 99% were the same. It's impossible. And they said it was like their own like research. That's impossible. You cannot produce 99% of the same content, exactly the same sentences. I find it somewhere a bit sad, because why would you? If you be like the professional mailman, I always say be a professional mailman. Just collect the valuable piece of content and distribute them like to your network, because they will see you as the person who has enlightened them with an insight. You don't need to create every piece of content yourself. Just start distributing it. and you will benefit from it even more than doing like a lame copycat action. Yeah.
Right. It almost reminds me, my son's in high school right now. He's in 10th grade. And when they submit papers, it's now run through like a, I don't know if it's called Turnitin or one of those places, but back in the day, the teachers would have to go, wow, this sounds familiar. And they would look it up and say, somebody else wrote this, it was plagiarism. But now there's like these tools that they can run their papers through. And my son wrote a paper, it was his first time writing a long paper, and he got it back from his teacher. And the teacher said it was like 86% plagiarized. And I said, do you know what that means? And he's like, well, I said where it was from. I go, yeah, but you didn't rewrite it. You basically copied and pasted. And wouldn't that be a great feature in the future, Richard, if LinkedIn were to adapt something like that, where they would say, hey, this looks like it was originally posted by Richard Vanderblom or John Asperian or Andy Foote, or Brenda Meller, right? Or give credit to the source. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. On the one hand, I think it would be great. On the other hand, I think it always has a boomerang effect of people who abuse content of other people. I think that the network is so strong that the network will see. Actually, I wasn't made aware, or I didn't discover it myself. Like the 3 or 4 research that has been like copycat. It was my network that tagged me and sent me a message saying, "Have a look at Yeah. So I think if your network will have a look and will warn you if they see something coming up. So I personally don't worry that much, because if I look at the research, for example, but also many other posts like my newsletter, I think about 98-99% of the people, I've had so many emails of people from all over the world saying, I want to distribute this to my class. I want to, have this in my presentation for my own company, and I'm fine. So a lot of people, they value the content and they just mention the source, which is fine by me.
Yeah, and this whole conversation today is about leveraging the power of LinkedIn to grow your business, and that's what you're focused on. And I think it's in some aspects a compliment when people are it is a compliment when they're resharing your content, and eventually that will catch up with them. So I'm a big believer of karma. Like karma will catch up to them. Somebody will eventually go, wait a minute, you didn't write that, and then that leads you to question the validity. Whereas someone like you're genuinely putting out such great, valuable content and reports. And I got to tell you guys, if you're not yet following Richard, go on his profile right now. I'll tag him in the comments to make it easier for you. He is putting out such great content all the time. And I would have to imagine, Richard, you're probably not doing a lot of, you're doing lead generation, but you're probably not doing a lot of prospecting lead generation. I would imagine a lot of business comes to you by way of referral. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's also for me, the real proof that if you invest, because I have been on LinkedIn ever since 2005. I have been providing LinkedIn training ever since 2009. And I'm very lucky to have this very interesting clients all over the world, different industries, because every training, they post me questions that make me even go dig deeper inside of LinkedIn, inside of their tooling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I stepped up my level in terms of quality, in terms of knowledge. And if I look back to 2020, I have about 90%, so 90% of all my new clients, just came by referral.
Wow.
Normally, I don't do any acquisition. I only do acquisition when I see something happening on LinkedIn. For example, I see this marketing manager posting something, or I see this sales director posting something, where I just know if I reach out now, because I've seen something that might be very easy to improve, or they're into this change where I can add value, and that's the only reason when I reach out, if I know 100% sure that I can provide value. And I'm doing a lot of my own. I have a hub, so if I have international clients, I can just fly in some other LinkedIn trainers. But I'm pretty happy to have this fairly high amount of referral-based clients. And I think maybe not 90%, but a lot of businesses out there, they should aim also, because I always say your best salesman is your most satisfied client. He will always outperform your best account manager or your best sales manager, your best client.
Absolutely. And referrals being a top source of business, I think is a testament to the value that you provide. I mean, people have worked with you firsthand, and when they refer you, you've been vetted already. And I have that too, where people come to me and they're like, you don't even need to send me the proposal, just send me the link. Like, how do I sign up? How do I get? And I'm like, well, because the person that I've worked with has already kind of spoken on my behalf.
Exactly.
I mean, that's key. So I want to go back to an earlier point. You know, it sounds like the outreach you're doing is more based on posting activity. So Richard, you're telling me, and I'm asking this, you know, kind of in jest, because I know there's probably some salespeople that are watching this, whether now or live or in playback. So Richard, I'm using an automated service that's helping me to grow my network faster and to generate leads for me. That's okay, right?
No.
Why not? But I'm getting new connections. I'm getting responses.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your response to that? I'm curious.
It's almost becoming an everlasting discussion. I meet a lot of clients who are already on automation or wondering or into decision of buying any automation tool that, you know, enables them to do a massive outreach. Of course, I have been testing, and I'm talking now about like 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe even like 4 years. I have tested some of the automation tools, not that I wanted to use them,
right,
but just because I wanted to know what are they doing, what are they providing. And my network is one of the most valuable assets in my business model. My network is one of the most important assets. So I don't want to ruin my reputation, my trust inside my network. Yeah. Now, basically what I see out in the market, you have like 2 different uses of automation. One is to grow your network. Okay, you know, for example, you're aiming at IT managers in software companies. That's your target audience. So you create a list. Well, it doesn't matter if it's in the free use of LinkedIn or maybe in Sales Navigator. You find 200 people and you basically set the automation tool and it will send like a default invitation to 200 people.
Right.
Now, then people say, yes, but it has provided me with 30 new contacts. Okay, but 170 people have not responded and have seen your name. Right. And maybe now have the impression, okay, this guy, this company is not what I want to have in my network. So you're also doing harm to your network, to your reputation. Then if you look at the conversion, it's always very low. So it's right. Like, yes, if you play the big numbers game, of course, there will be some conversion. That's the first thing. Second thing, and I find it's even more at risk, I recently got 2 messages from different people in my network where I just knew this is like an automated message because it was not about me, it was about them, you know, except from hi Richard, that was the personalization. And then it was like a pitch. This is what we are currently up to. This is what we can offer you. Yeah. We haven't spoken to you for a long time. I was like,
We've never spoken. I knew, right.
No, for example, or like, you know, if you speak to me like a month ago or a year ago, that's like a different message, you know, like, okay, right. I spoke to you like a few weeks ago, or we haven't spoke for the last year. If you make such a sentence, it's already different than automation because it's more personalized.
Yeah.
So I found out it's automation. I sent back, why do you send me this message? And they go like, yeah, I have like 300-400 people in my network. And I thought, you know, just message them once and maybe one of, and I was like, have you any idea what your network will think about how you value your network? It's like a spam machine. So I'm really against automation. First, it's prohibited by LinkedIn user agreements, so you risk your profile. Second, it's for the quick win. It's not for the long-term result. It's about a bad reputation. You ruin your trust. If we speak about templates, that's different because I use templates. If somebody visits my profile, he belongs to my target audience. I have like a pre-prepared message where I just put in like the first name, but that's different because I will not send a message before I myself press on send. Okay, so there is no message to be sent without me having a look at it and press send. That's different. That's like increasing your efficiency.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a little bit different process there. And I want to go back to your earlier point, and I want to really just emphasize this. And I put the comment in the screen below. Just to remind you guys, if you're thinking about using automation or if you're currently using automation to grow your business on LinkedIn, don't. And the point that Richard made is this is a violation of LinkedIn's terms of service. And I had someone reach out to me, Richard, and he was he reached out because he said, I'm thinking about, or it was an automated service. And I think I got the note and I replied back with just test, T-E-S-T, the word test. That's all I did. And then he replied back and said, what do you mean by test? And I said, I just want to make sure you're not using automation, or this is not a bot, that this is a real person. And he's like, no, this is a real person. And I said, are you using automation? And I got him talking. That was the key to this whole thing. I got him talking as a real human being to human being. And he said, I actually did sign up for something, but it's helping to grow my network. And I said, I'm curious, what's the name of the service? Because a lot of these are violating terms of service and you could eventually get your account locked up. And he gave it to me and he said, but he's like, they didn't say anything to me about that. And then I went to their website, and in the footer of their website, and you know what you're smiling because you know what I'm going to say. In the footer of their website, very small print, it said, use of this service, and it was in so many words, use of this service may violate LinkedIn's terms of service. If so, and if you get blocked, that's a risk that you are willing to take by using our service. And, and by the way, there's no money back. And I showed it to him and he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. And it sounds like I appreciate that you said you tested these out, and I'm kind of curious. I want to see what they're like, but I don't want to go anywhere near it because I value my LinkedIn network so much. And I'm sure you're the same way, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I even saw that post. I think you made a post about the test with a print screen.
Yes.
I did more or less the same because obviously these automation tools are becoming like smarter and smarter also. They know how LinkedIn works. So you can make like follow-up message, third follow-up message. And then if you build like a funnel and somebody like you or me are responding 3 times, that's where the conversion takes place. So
right.
I have done more or less the same. So I got the invite and I said something like, are you human? ?
Are you human? I like that.
Next message. Thank you for accepting my connection request. And I was like, I didn't. And then I said, are you human again? ? And then he came like, oh, really interesting. Here's a video. Can I give you a call? I go like, okay, I'm like just in an automation tool.
Yeah. And then you, I don't know the person, which gets them a little flag in the system at that point, right?
you know what I did? Because as I told you, being active, being approachable, sometimes I feel I need to respond. While on the other hand, I know it takes a lot of my precious time.
Right.
So what I did, one of my most recent newsletters, I think it was the 7th of the 8th edition. It's called Why I Ignore Your Connection Request. And there are like 10 reasons why I ignore it. Like it's a pitch. It's you have a very basic profile without a picture. You're trying to sell me anything, like 8-9 different reasons. Now, whenever I get a connection request, which is like an instant pitch, like, hey, Richard, I see you, we have this. The only thing I do, I go like, hi, let me know what you think of this article. And I put the article there about ignoring. Yeah. And until now, only one person came back to me and said, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I need to like change my approach. All the others.
So you sent them the article back. I love that.
Yes.
That's a great approach.
And again, I made a template. So with like 4 or 5 letters, I use text expander. So 4 or 5 letters, it gives me the template. It's like, hi, what do you think the article, the URL is enclosed. And just one person came back, which actually proves to me that they are not interested in like conversation. They're just interested in who's going to click, who's going for the quick conversion. Yeah.
I had to grab my Post-it note out to write down. I'm a big Post-it note person. Text expander, because I've heard people talking about that before. So it's almost like a templated response that you can just type in A, B, C, D, and then it pulls up that. And exactly. I have to look that up. I love that article. And Richard, I'd love it if you could share that link with me. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to share your article with some of these people that are pitching me. To see what their response is. And then I can give you some credit and it's some additional visibility for that approach too.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So guys, we're here today talking about leveraging the power of LinkedIn and how to grow your business. And I kind of almost felt like I had a little bit of a Clubhouse moment there, Richard. In Clubhouse, when you're in a Clubhouse room and you're a little bit halfway into the topic and you're like, let's reset the room, and you remind people what they're watching if they're just coming in, or just listening to if they're just coming in. But I want to go back to this point because we're going to open this up to Q&A in a few minutes here. So people that are watching, they're looking to grow their business, and you already kind of gave them some tips. Be authentic, be active, approachable, and ambassador. I want to see if you can give us a couple of additional points on being active on LinkedIn, and then we're going to open this up to Q&A in just a minute or so here.
Okay, active is like, I have, for example, active, I have like a personal routine. Okay, it's very easy. I check, for example, who has invited me on this particular day. Who do I need to accept? Maybe I need to post some questions. Why do you want to link on me? So connections, requests, daily based. Messages, same, because it's like my email. Third, notifications, multiple time a day. Like it's mainly on mobile. Just have a look. If somebody poses a question, if somebody responds, if somebody's sharing a post, just reach out. Just let them know that you've seen it. So this is more or less like a daily active base. Then I try to create between 4 and maybe 6 posts a week. Okay. I'm not posting on a daily base because sometimes I don't have anything to post. Again, quality above quantity. So if I don't have anything to post, I will not. But what is like really very helpful is if you have like 10 minutes a day to only give comments, because I have trained about in total 45,000 people, and I think about 20,000 of them were salespeople. And one of the biggest issues with salespeople, either they look at marketing to provide content, or they find it difficult themselves to produce content. So if, for example, you don't have any good writing skills, you're not very creative, and you're waiting for marketing, don't wait for marketing, but just tell yourself to give comments for 10 minutes every day. Okay. Find the interesting hashtags, find the posts of your clients, of your network, and start commenting. You can ask a question, you can provide additional insights, you can give people tips. Because this will also increase your visibility. And especially if you're going to comment on very well performing, engaging posts, a lot of people who are going to like the comments, they will reach out to you, or they have seen your name. So it's also about becoming more active.
It's almost like a little bit of a hack, I think, and it's in a good way. It's how to grow visibility. And I love this concept too. You grow visibility by shining the spotlight on others, by participating in their posts, by it's kind of like when we post on LinkedIn, we want people to see it. We want people to like it. We want people to comment on it. So start your efforts by doing that. And if you're struggling, I love your point. Just take 10 minutes a day to do that, to find posts. And even like, my focus, which really kind of started to jumpstart my efforts on LinkedIn was finding other people who do what I do, LinkedIn trainers and coaches and people like you. And I started engaging on their posts. And it wasn't to try to like get my clients. I wasn't trying to like conquest people. I was really just trying to learn from other people. And I started, making a list of people who I thought were really doing a great job on the platform. But I see like each of us, I see us as co-opetition versus competition. We help and support each other, right?
I see the same, because you mentioned some other names like Andy Food and John Espirian, and there are like, I have about, I don't know, I should look. I think I have about more than 200 or 300 global LinkedIn experts in my network. And I value them a lot because, first of all, I think everybody gets the customers he or she deserves. That there needs to be a match. So I could post like identical content than you, and you would still get other clients than I would get. That's the first thing. Second, I get inspired by a lot of them. So I see a post. I have 2 options. I can either share it and give them the credits, or leave a comment, which I sometimes do, or like the content inside is so inspiring that like it activates my own thinking process, and I know that I'm going to make like not an identical post, but a post that could be related, but like in my own way, with my own, exactly, with my own methodology, with my own vision. So I have been like inspired by a lot of our colleagues in what could be like my next post, because there are a lot of awesome LinkedIn trainers out there.
Absolutely. And there's so many people from around the world. And I remember like back in the day when I first got LinkedIn Live, I was watching people like Beth Granger. She was doing a lot of lives in the beginning, and I think she was one of the first people who had it. And I was kind of watching hers and jumping on her lives. And we learned from watching others on there. And I want to ask one question. So you're really deep in knowledge on Sales Navigator, right, Richard? That's kind of your I think your niche, right? If I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, I think about 50% of all the trainings I provide of strategic advice has to do with Sales Navigator. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of start us with questions, and then I'll open it up to audience questions as well. So what advice do you have for someone who is recently, maybe they've had premium and they're upgrading to Sales Navigator? And maybe the question, I'll be more specific. When is it time to start thinking about upgrading to Sales Navigator if you have premium?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is not going to like me for this statement, but I think premium is like, I think premium is not worth the money, because with premium, we're talking, if you say premium,
yeah,
you mean business, like the most traditional LinkedIn premium subscription, where you have like 5 emails, you get to see everyone who has visited your profile. I think you have access to LinkedIn Learning. And I don't know for sure, but I think it's about like $350 or $400 a year. Okay.
Right.
Well, if you double that, and we're talking about money, I know, but if you double it, you have access to Sales Navigator Professional Edition. And those $400 extra a year are they're extremely worth it, because Sales Navigator is a complete different interface. It allows you, based on more extended filters, based on more emails, based on more insights, to really like start like watching your target audience, save them as leads, save them as accounts, wait for the right moment to do an outreach, very professional outreach. So my personal very strong feeling, and LinkedIn is going to like me for this statement, is that every modern B2B sales professional or B2B entrepreneur should have Sales Navigator. You cannot do any lead generation. Of course, there are people who are very like creative, but it will like really accelerate the way in how you increase your lead generation by using Sales Navigator. For the small and medium enterprises, or for the solo entrepreneurs, there are 3 different editions. We have professional, we have team, and enterprise. So enterprise, like clear for the bigger companies.
This is 3 different versions of Sales Navigator is what you're referring to? Okay.
Yes. And normally, if you as a solo entrepreneur, small, medium entrepreneur, you will go for Sales Navigator Professional, because it's the cheapest version. So a lot of people choose that. I would not do that. Go for team.
Really? Okay. As a solopreneur, like somebody like me, should have team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's $300 more a year, but there are some functionalities. Most important, Smart Link. You really need to have that feature, and that feature is only in Team and Enterprise Edition, because this feature, Smart Link, if you use this strategically for your content, for your outreach, it will give you a massive advantage. And LinkedIn actually made it possible, I think since 8-9 months, also for solo entrepreneurs, because before you could only like sign up for professional, because Team was only allowed if you have at least 6 seats, so
That's
6 people.
What I thought. Yeah.
But now they have like getting rid of this barrier. So even if you're like a solo entrepreneur like me, or a small medium enterprise, you can go for Team Edition. Don't doubt about it. Go for the do it right from the beginning. Go for Team Edition.
Okay. I wasn't even aware. I was aware that I have the solo, and I for years and years I was just a premium user, and I mean the biggest thing I use in premium is who viewed your profile, because I have the follow button as the default. Is that what you have too, Richard, or do you have the connect one?
And, no, I have the follow button as default.
And sometimes you get people that don't know they can connect with you, so they follow you, but they are interested in doing business with you or learning from you. And I would look to see who those people are, and then similar to you, I look at their profile, and then I would reach out, and the premium allowed me to do that. And I kept having questions from people about Sales Navigator. And for me, I was using Business Premium, which in the US is $59.99 a month if you pay for it on a monthly basis. And Sales Navigator is $79.99. And I'm like, well, it's $20 more. I'm just going to upgrade and try it. And I've heard there's some limitations. There's messaging in a different place. But I kind of like every now and again, I have a question about Sales Navigator from a client, and I go in and I poke around and I find an answer. And I'm like, yeah, it's worth $20 more a month. And I don't think I'm ever going to downgrade from premium. But I was interested, really interesting to hear that there was 3 levels. So you've intrigued me, so I might look at that. And you don't make money on telling people to upgrade to Sales Navigator, right? Like this is just a service you're kind of sharing with us.
No. To be honest, this is an interesting point, because I have a very good relationship with like LinkedIn offices in Amsterdam, Dublin, and even in the States. I know a lot of people, and I think it was almost 8 years ago. when I was invited to the Dutch office, and at that moment there was working somebody who has previously worked at Microsoft, and mind you, this was in the time where LinkedIn was not yet a Microsoft company, and his goal was to create like this partner program. So for like external advisors to become part of the partner program, and I was really looking forward to that, because you get a certain kind of I don't know if they want to do with a certification, but you step up the level and quality of external advisors. It didn't went through. They have not done it. It's been swept from the table. It will not come back the upcoming year. So what I'm basically doing now, if I think a client needs Sales Navigator, I'm just connect them with somebody like a sales rep from LinkedIn I know, and I just hand it over to them. And in return, sometimes, obviously, I'm being called by a company and they say, yeah, we're just in the verge of getting Sales Navigator, yes or no. And LinkedIn has given me your name because you could provide us with some insights, some training. So, we can make a better decision. So it's actually like how you respond in a network. It's like give and take. That's the only, but there is no other like financial incentive.
It's not like sometimes there's referral systems where if you sign up for Shield Analytics, I get 10% off, or it's not one of those referral affiliate links or anything. All right, good to know. So I'm gonna just put it out to the group again. If you guys have questions, this is the time. Ask Richard. He's here right now. He can answer your question live. And if you happen to be watching this in playback, still ask your questions in comments later. I'll share the links with Richard so he can watch the playback. I did see one question came in, and there's a lot of comments, but one question came in from Angela. And Angela is wondering, Richard, do you have a place that you store ideas that you get? So you were talking earlier about when you see posts from people and sometimes they inspire you. What's your technique? I mean, do you just use it right then and there to post, or is there a place like a notes app, or where do you save those ideas for later?
I'm not the best example when it comes to like structure. Maybe it looks that way when I post something. But for example, if I see an interesting post in my mobile feed that is, for example, inspiring or makes me think of creating my own piece of content, I just make a print screen. So I just make a print screen. And then once a week, I go through all the print screens I have on my mobile phone, and I know what to do with it because I see the article. If I, for example, see a person in my network, which I haven't spoken to for a long time, again, I make a print screen, and I know at the end of the week, okay, I need to send him a message, or I need to send, give him a call. So it's more like this. And then, believe it or not, but I still have like a handwritten notebook. Yes. And there I'm very structured. So I have like code words, like the I is for IDs. So I write I, and so I can go through the notebook very quickly and see what kind of ideas I have, but it's not like in an app or something.
Yeah. And it's kind of like I'm the same way too, Richard. I mean, sometimes I do have Post-it notes, and I write little ideas on Post-it notes and to-dos and stuff all over my desk. And I do have a notepad too. And sometimes, like you, I use my phone. Sometimes I go into the notes app. I saw somebody ask a question about that. And some people use services like Evernote. I tried it once upon a time. I could never really, it just didn't work. It was like one additional thing to do. I do see one more question. I'm going to leave this as our last question. Alistair is asking, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn groups?
Yeah, that's a very interesting one because, I know I've been on LinkedIn for a while. I know if you go back like 10 years, 9 years, 2010, 2011, those groups were like very active. There were not as many groups, but, it felt really like a very active community where people were contributing. And we all know that groups have had like, they completely died. They're still there.
Yeah, they're there, but it's like, I don't know why LinkedIn it's like they're buried behind the work icon. You got to dig and find them, right? I wish they made it more.
The only reason why they are still there is that LinkedIn still makes money, because if you go to the campaign manager, you can still target people that are in a specific group. So it's still like one of the target options. Yeah. And they have tried twice in the past 4 years to like revitalize the groups with making some changes. Basically, I think there are a few reasons. First, a lot of groups, they have mismanagement. They are not managed well. If there is like spammy content, you should get rid of it as an admin. They don't, so people leave and people become like inactive because the value is not there. Second, I really think LinkedIn should think what's the next step with LinkedIn groups, because we cannot continue like this. Because I read a story, 96% of all the LinkedIn groups are basically like non-existing anymore, non-active anymore. So it's like a huge amount. Personally, I feel that there could be a high value in LinkedIn groups if they are like managed well, if you bring people together based on like a mutual interest, mutual industry, mutual knowledge. So there's a high potential. The only, we need to figure out how it can be revitalized again.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with you. I think there's so much potential. I kind of just to add on to that, I still see there's value in groups, and I use groups to communicate with some people in my community as well. And I have a job seeker group that we post jobs and we share things back and forth. But I think the groups, I see them personally as like the value you get out of them is what you put into them. And if you're trying to figure out, Alistair, how to use groups more effectively, what I would say is it's the same thing Richard said earlier, kind of focus on helping the group first before you post within the group, right? And commenting on those things. Would you agree with that, Richard?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good tip.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to start to wrap up the conversation here today, guys. And I just pulled up on screen Richard's LinkedIn profile, and I see you've got a really awesome banner image, and it looks like you're speaking in front of a group. Do you remember where and when that was? That was, it looks like a live in person without a mask on, so it must have been a while back.
Yeah, it was September 2019. It was an event actually in the Netherlands where also Dutch national television was there. It was an event for, I think it was about 100 C-level people, where I did a keynote on digital selling, social selling. It was a real awesome event because we only had C-level people. So after the event, like the networking, it was like super powerful because all people more or less had like the same job, but also the same challenges, the same stories. So it was really an excellent event. I'm looking forward to get back to those events again.
I hear you. Yeah. And I feel like we're seeing a lot more momentum that's happening right now with, the numbers going down and the vaccines, the people getting vaccinations going up. So hopefully, and I hope at some point, Richard, we'll have the chance to meet in person. I would love to see like a global meeting of all the LinkedIn experts at some point. That'd be really great thing to see.
That would be really cool. Yeah, that would be really cool.
All right, guys. So I want to remind you, if you want, visit LinkedIn, visit Richard's profile on LinkedIn. And Richard, are you open to accepting connections? Do you have any advice for people that are looking to connect with you?
Yeah, just don't send me a pitch. Because then, unless you want to read the article, because if you send me a pitch, you get the article. But no.
I'm tempted to pitch you just so I can get the article.
Yeah. No, just write me a short message that you have viewed me on the social media pie show from Brenda, or write anything you want. I get back to you. I will accept whenever I get a personal invitation. I always accept. Have a look at my profile. There, in my opinion, is a lot of like golden nuggets, like the algorithm research. And if I think I can do anything for you or your business, just reach out to me, and I'm happy to have a chat with you.
Yeah, and there's so much great stuff. And I just want to point out, I think in your featured section, this is just one example. If you guys are not yet following Richard, I mean, he puts out these reports and people like circulate them everywhere. And there's a new report. Richard just put out a new report. Bam. Yeah. LinkedIn doesn't have one algorithm. Actually, it has two. So there's the mobile and the desktop. There's you see different things in both. That's just one example. So I just have to commend you on all the work that you're doing on behalf of all of us here in the LinkedIn community. Thank you, Richard, because you're putting out such wonderful content. I've learned so much from you, and it's truly an honor to have you on today. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brenda. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, guys. And as we wrap up today, I want to remind you, even if you're watching this in playback later, I would love it if you could please leave a comment below. And I just put a little ticker on there to remind you, if you enjoyed the broadcast today, if you learned something from Richard, please add it in comment. I'm going to share the link with Richard later on so he can go back, look at the comments. I know I think you got a client training later on. So probably tomorrow you might be able to look back at some of those comments and reply back to those people, right?
Yeah, definitely. And if they haven't learned anything, they can also leave a comment. Nothing
there
news.
You go. Leave a comment.
Nothing news. Move on.
And related to that, Richard earlier was talking about he tries to post like 4 to 6 times a week. If you guys are struggling with what to share on LinkedIn, I'm going to make it super, super easy for you. Share this video. Like as soon as we're done, it'll take like about 5 seconds. And then this will sit on my LinkedIn and there's a little share button underneath it. Click to share and say, watch this awesome video featuring @Richard Vanderblom, tag him in the post. where he's talking about how to use LinkedIn to grow your business. That counts as a post for the day. So if you're struggling, share the video. That's a great thing to do. So on behalf of all of us, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching Social Media of High today. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I'll remind you, if you go to mellermarketing.com/subscribe, you can join my VIP email list, where I'll be sending out future dates and topics on sessions like these. And on that note, I'll let you get back to your evening there, Richard. I'm going to get my day started. And I wish everyone well, stay safe and stay healthy. And we'll see you on LinkedIn. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you.